Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Retail and Change. I am your host, Joseph Lohman, joined today by Denis Christesen, Managing Director for Europe for PartnerTech, one of our longtime partners. And welcome to our podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So it's a very busy Euro since we're recording this in February 2025. Appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to join us. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about the European market, which is your specialty.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But first, tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been at PartnerTech? How long have you been in retail? Give me your background.
Well, I'm 18 years in PartnerTech right now. Starting out from 1st of January 2007 as one of the founders of our European organization. In retail, or for the retail, I would say I'm maybe now for 20-something years. So people can guess my age. So I'm 47 now. I have 2 kids. I live in Hamburg in Germany. That's my home base, so to say. But yeah, traveling a lot in Europe, traveling a lot the world.
So you are well versed in the European retail market.
Yeah, well, we have a kind of strange definition in Europe and PartnerTech. So we talk about Europe and Africa and some other territories as well, like even up to Latin America. So it's my job a little bit to oversee strategy, oversee the markets, development, what's happening. That we are already sitting in the train when the train starts moving, right?
Nice. So our audience is global around the world. Some of them are more familiar with their local markets, may not be familiar with your market. So how is the European market different from other retail markets around the world?
Well, it's actually it's very diverse. We have we have European Union on one hand with a lot of regulations, which maybe we'll talk about in a minute. But we have a lot of different languages, still with currencies, different fiscalizations. What we are facing. And then we have also the markets are very, very, very different. We have a very dominating German discount scene, I can say, which is also going globally at this rate, with the US, Australia. So, and we are still having these smaller cooperativos and Spain, having grocery chains of 80 stores, 60 stores, 100 stores, something like that. Well, we do not see that much in Central Europe anymore, unfortunately. I love those kind of small stores as well. Very unique, family oriented and stuff like that. And of course, right now we're talking about this 24/7 concept, right? The smart stores and all those specialty things, which is also coming, but also driven a lot by legislation, by a different kind of rules, which is sometimes for people who are not from Europe very hard to understand why we're doing this.
So the regulations are driving adoption of the automated smart stores.
It is. If we look, for instance, to Germany, there are discussions if a retail store can open on Sundays even if there's no staff. Right? So this is like we have some strange regulations there, or some sort of strange things which actually is harming a little bit sometimes the investment and the quick adoption rate. So plus our European regulations, it's also not sometimes very helpful.
Give an example?
Yeah, for example, now we have the new AI Act, or the CRA Act, the Cyber Resilience Act, which actually put the hardware companies as well as the software companies to a lot of more reporting things, which is difficult. From our side, we're kind of done already, but it's for a lot of smaller companies, and it's very, very difficult from full budgets. And for the retailers talking about fiscalization, here maybe a European initiative would be very great, but we don't have to. So it's country by country, different rules, different tax rules, different ways how the software, how the hardware needs to burn it. And that is harming us. Business, absolutely. there are solutions, right? And there is and that is actually also what we try to do. So originally, PartnerTech, for those people in your audience who do not know us, we're originally a hardware manufacturer of the point to sell equipment, printers, cash drawers, whatever you name it. So we actually converted over the past years very much to see where are the problems, where are the pain points of retailers. So, and for instance, is it budget constraints? Is it the fiscalization? Is it in the self-service area? Like when we're talking about those self-checkouts, they are around, but you know, the adoption rate in many European countries is still small. And there are reasons, because people are not happy using it, and the retailers are not happy using it because of inventory differences. To say it's in a nice way, or too many interventions from the customers, so the customers are not happy. Or what we also listen even from the US, from the YouTube, Walmart videos, that shoppers were called thieves because they used the self-checkout in the wrong way. So we identified this kind of problems, and we have solutions for that. So even here we mentioned that we are at the USS show.
Yes.
We have our self-checkout doctor on our booth.
What is a self-checkout doctor? So I love the name.
Well, our self-checkout doctor is actually analyzing the existing self-checkout.
Is it a person?
It's a person. Actually, it's a team. It's a full team of self-checkout doctors. So we are analyzing it, and we want to keep the investment of the retailer. So even we are manufacturing equipment, but our first target is to help the retailer to protect their existence and the investment, and that is where we put a lot of efforts in. So whenever they have hundreds or thousands of self-checkout, we better solve the problems first, which we got in 95% of the cases, like we can do so.
Mm-hmm.
And that honestly, the future business is coming. So the same we do if it's fiscalization, for instance, we have developed a fiscal middleware. Where we said, okay, what is the problem? The problem are the different integrations per country. So we said, okay, we want one fiscal middleware, one API, all countries. Huge challenge, to be honest, because it's printers, cloud, there's like a lot of different ways, but we made it. We have now many countries available through one single API, which is a big reduction in investment for the retail company, and a quicker adoption to new countries, etc. So that works pretty well. Or another thing is like with many times in the discussions with retailers, specifically one of the smaller ones, like, wow, this is great, but I need that, but I don't have the budget, right? So what we have developed there, we have a kind of a special rental program. So basically that it's not so much budget, that there are no budget restrictions anymore. So it's hardware, software as a service, POS as a service, self-checkout as a service.
Can really customize based on customer needs, what they can afford, how they can afford to pay for it.
And what does them help now, right? I guess, of course, we do AI, we do all these things, but honestly, we decided very hard way, on a very tough way, not to use any of those buzzwords. We do work with AI. We have AI applications, but it's not the technology who drives the retailer. It is the processes, right? And when the technology helps, it's great. But sometimes we don't need to oversell technology, right? We are a technology company. We love technology, right?
Clearly, yeah.
We are inventing technology, right? We're breaking rules, if you like to say so. But we're breaking rules also on process and also how we treat customers. And that is, there is a purpose behind that.
Okay.
We strongly believe in that purpose.
So interesting that you use AI, but don't really like to talk about it so much and push the AI. It's a huge buzzword, right? I think we can all admit that it's a huge buzzword.
It is.
What role do you see it playing in the coming years? Is it going to play more of a role, but it's behind the scenes? Is it going to...
Well, it doesn't matter if it's behind the scenes or not. It's like, of course, it plays a role. It will change the way we work. It will change the way we shop maybe. It will change. It will do a lot of process automation for us and things that will do this. But the reason I'm using AI is not because it's AI. Not because it's buzzwordy. Not because of some nice garage startup company has developed something, or even a big company put a couple million into AI development and now we need to sell it. Now, the success of AI will be determined by the process changes, by what is the AI really doing for us.
What kind of changes are you anticipating?
Well, what we see in short term, to be honest, well, there's always with all these technologies in retail specifically, but in general, I think people overestimate how quick it goes and they underestimate where it goes, right? So, and we try to balance this. That's why we don't try not to use this buzzword and do this. It helps a lot and it's there. Like, for example, on self-checkout, to do pick list automations that people don't need to look for things, which is more like a computer vision application, to identify strange movements of the shopper, give more security, have self-learning things inside. So that is where we see the use case right away. So, and the rest, to be honest, is a little bit like, technology-wise, there's a lot more possible. And I think maybe that's another big difference between Europe and some other things, is like, we are very data
Protective.
So
Regulated.
But also it's a mindset in the people, right? So there are a lot of people, like I heard this morning a story, like they said there was a guy and he destroyed the RFID chip in his credit cards. He did do it by himself.
Okay.
Right? Because he said, I'm not going to use them. And see, no, I'm not going to use our money. That is a break of my privacy. I don't want it. I will not, this is, and it's deep inside to me. So, and maybe that is a little bit different in Europe than
it's a little different consumer behavior.
It is.
You think that'll impact how AI is launched, utilized within retail here?
Well, I think the retailers, I think the retailers are maybe more conservative anyway.
Okay.
Adoption rate is maybe a bit slower. But the retailers, well, I'm not in the position to give them advice, right? But if I would give them advice, don't only do it. I mean, take your customers with you the way, right? Give them a little bit of choice, or give them really, really advantages to them, right? If I give them the choice, and then we again, AI is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I believe AI can do very good things. Right, but I think we have to train the people a little bit how to use it the right way. So starting off with our own companies, our own employees, right? To train them, use them, how to use it, and where is it good and not. And it's like we have a little saying of PartnerTech. We want to be a little bit the bridge between technology and humanity. And never forget the humanity. If we want people going to shop, nobody will go shop because AI is used. They got to go shopping because they want an experience. They want moments. They want to try out things, and they have a mood for whatever.
So that the trick is to figure out how to use the automation, how to use the technology to free up employees to give that personal experience?
Probably, yes. Exactly. It's not the normal people. I mean, it's not like us being in technology. Of course, we visit stores using technology because we are from that industry. But the normal shop, if there's not, they have a totally different meaning to why they go out, right? And if AI helps or if technology helps, it's great. But sometimes it doesn't. Right? And that is something we should not really forget.
So you like to have a purpose for it, not just to have it.
Absolutely not. There's no reason to oversell or giving a technology overkill. Even we are a company, I need to emphasize this one more time though. But it's like on the long term, it's like, you know, the best technology is the technology used by people, right? When they have a bad judgment. Of course, the companies need a bottom line, good bottom line. But if we're selling technology for retail or hospitality or wherever, it is for the bottom line of our customer, but it's also for the experiences of the people who visit our customers and spend their money, right? And we have let's say our big purpose is what we want to see is and what you can. I mean, even this episode is not displayed during USS, but you personally, so please come over also to our USGF. We talk about magic. We talk about magical moments. And we think physical retail, high street, whatever, is a magical place. So our overall purpose is that the magic of physical retail never ever will go away. So and that is what we're working for. And yes, technology will help. Our technology does help a lot. I'm very convinced we have the right answers. But I strongly believe that we need, as I said, this bridge between technology and humanity to reach this overall purpose that we see physical retail, hospitality, event spaces, that we see and enjoy them as a shopper, also in the next hundreds of thousands of years.
So the magic of retail, the creating an experience for your customer and using that to differentiate yourself, draw you in, is that a common viewpoint for retailers in the European market? Is this a new thing? Is it something that you're working with retailers to understand?
Well, I think that, the purpose of the retail company, of any retail company, is to sell goods to people.
Sure.
Right? So, is it the core duty of the IT department? No, it's not. The core duty of the IT department is to fulfill the overall retail strategy and bring the right solutions to that table. And that is a tough job. I mean, I'm from this industry, and I'm working my whole life in this industry. I walk around the Ulysses show or the NRF show in January in New York, and I don't know what 30% of the companies are doing. Right? I don't understand this. Right? And this is a kind of it's a lot of technology, what we're seeing there, right? But where's the message? Right? What is the purpose? So, and that is a difficult job for the retail companies, for the IT departments, for the COOs, right? To find this out. So of course it's business driven. It's like strategy driven by the retailer. So, but also it's our job of the industry to help IT, to help operations, to make a little bit of path in this kind of technology jungle or whatever you call it.
So PartnerTech essentially partners with your customers to help them understand and really figure out what those magic moments in retail could be.
Solving pain points. First thing, but drive into those magical bars for the customers of our goods. Thanks.
So self-checkouts in the European market, what's the state of that?
Well, everybody's talking about it.
Of course.
Everybody's talking about it everywhere. Of course, with cash, without cash, with AI, without AI, right? So, what is the process? And again, here it's like we need to analyze. We're helping the retailers to analyze. Do they really need self-checkout? And what kind of self-checkout? And what kind of KPIs they want to fulfill? And we've seen so many different reasons of introducing self-checkout. From I want to do queue busting, I have trouble to find staff. So it's almost nobody's talking really about staff reduction. It's like more like, okay, I don't find staff. I want to open my POS at peak time. I'm losing customers because they don't want to queue up. With one customer, he said, well, I trust my customers more than my staff. That was a quite kind of interesting one. So I prefer the customers checking themselves out. It was not Europe, but it was one of the comments we got. Some want to be upfront in technology, we also have this argument. My competitor's doing it. I need to do it as well. I didn't like it. So we normally convince.
So you see more demand this year?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. So we see like definitely in retail, we see a huge shift into self-service offers. I would say that way.
Self-service. And what is the, what would you say is the number one reason retailers are now looking at it? Perhaps again.
No, I don't want to answer that question because
is it to solve labor issues? Is it to
labor issues big, honestly. And well, the last stats what I got from the U.S. is, for instance, that we want to reach the biggest pain point in labor before 2030. So it's getting worse, right? So we are just at the beginning of that. So yes, of course, people need to get ready, and also the shopping experience again, it changes. So we have customers, for instance, in Czech Republic, they operate a normal supermarket daytime. They turn the whole supermarket to a completely 24/7 cashier-less store at night, and it works, right? So these are kind of new offerings which drive self-checkout. So, but it is really, it's not the point why people go to that.
So it's not just to solve the labor issues, it's also to reevaluate how they're doing business.
Absolutely.
Their processes. Interesting.
Absolutely. And again, it's the reason why to use or self-services. It is really, it differs from retail to retail.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I can just invite everybody to go with us to the talking with our analyst, talking about the pain points, the KPIs, what the retailer want to achieve, and we can tell them very quick if it's possible with our system, of course, or not. Or we can identify and we can give maybe some additional things what could be improved through that route. But there's not the answer for that question. I wish, because then my marketing would be very easy.
Very easy, yes. It's certainly it's not a one-size-fits-all.
No, it's not.
Every business is different, the way they operate, the way they tell their story, the way they create those optimizations and magic moments.
Yes.
Hey, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate the time you've given us. Any parting thoughts? What do you think might happen over the next year or so?
Well, I think the next year or the next couple months, we will very much see what happens politically. That is, it's something we talk a lot even here at the show. Mm-hmm. What happened in the world right now, right? Europe is kind of also still shaken by the war, or by the wars what are around us. So, which is coming hopefully to an end soon. So that is our thing. We think that the general spending in IT is increasing. The number of POS is decreasing. Number of self-checkout is increasing. Mm-hmm. Cash management becomes more important because there will be less cash involved. Mm-hmm. So, and as less cash is involved, is more expensive the cash handling will be. So we see an increasing demand of cash management as well. So it's also good for you guys here. So it's like, it will be very interesting. It's not the technology. I think the buzzwords will keep on rolling.
Always got a new buzzword, yes.
Well, probably next year we'll see the new buzzword. We went from data warehouse to data lakes and all those kind of things. I think we will. But in general, if we talk to, and that is also an interesting thing. If we're going to congresses with the IT guys, no matter where in the world. Actually, we listen to their speeches. We talk about classical things. We talk about, we're looking for a new ERP. We're introducing a new point-of-sale software. We're changing our payment provider. We're changing that. So actually, I do have some AI things, but the classical IT job is also still there.
Are you anticipating, or do you think there's the potential for regulation changes, either more or less, that might have an impact over the next couple of years?
Well, every politician is now promising that we will have less regulations, right?
Sure.
Yes. So far, the last couple of years, I could not really see that, right? But I think it's important, and in all regulations, there is also a chance, to be honest. Like I mean, like if we talk about a big retail company, they are not against a fiscal law to check that everybody is paid tax and that everybody is doing a correct job. So they are not against it at all because it's fair competition, right? So, and it's not the stores that's fight, or it's not the companies with 100, 200 stores who are necessarily, they put a lot of measures inside that nobody can cheat there, right? So, so I can just, again, I'm not in the position to give advice, but it's like I can just advise governments, talk to those guys, what is already in place, do a little bit more best practice, and not a little bit what could be possible if, right? Specifically when it comes to your regulation.
Yeah.
But
so maybe take a look at the ones that are harming business, harming retail.
And the same politicians, they are talking about dying high street, right? So it's like there's a lot of jobs to do. But also it's not something we can just put on the politicians, because there are solutions for all the regulation and all those legal issues. There are solutions on the market. So it's also us as the technology providers, and it's also up to the retailers to be innovative, to create this magical spaces, and people want it. So I'm not so negative about the future.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Denis, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate the time you've given us in the middle of a very busy trade show. If you would like to learn more about the offerings that PartnerTech has in the European markets, I'd encourage you to reach out to Denis. We've tagged him and PartnerTech in our show notes. And if you enjoyed this podcast, I would love it if you could like, share, and follow us. You can find us on Apple Podcast and Spotify.
Hello.